Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to strip larger gauge wire as well as installing terminals to the larger gauge wire. There are many ways to do this. You can use a knife, you can use wire strippers, you can use crimpers, but I'm going to show you the most efficient way to do it without tearing the strands or damaging the wire in any kind of way. And when it comes to the crimping part, I found a really cheap tool that I've been using a lot because I crimp you know, battery terminals or welding terminals or, cables to certain things all the time. So I found it handy to have this tool that I'm about to show you sitting around in the shop. And like I said, it's pretty affordable. So you can get one too in case you run into projects like this. One thing that I know that people will probably eventually have to do if you drive a car anyways is usually battery terminals get acid on them if you don't kind of keep up with it. Most people don't really keep up with battery terminals or check on them like they should. They normally just say, hey, my battery's dead, and then they look at the terminal and there's acid all over it. Normally, you can really clean it up really well, or you can just replace it. I usually just replace them if they ever get to that point. But I'll show you how to do that. Let's get into it. First thing I'm going to be going over is how to strip the wire, and then we'll get to the terminal part. That makes sense, right? You see a good bit of tools laying right here. Here's the wire that we're going to be stripping. This is not massive wire. You can obviously strip larger wire using this method. This is just something I had laying around. This is 6-gauge welding cable. It's fine strand. So as I mentioned before, you can use wire strippers. You can actually use the cutting part and kind of, I'm not going to do it because, well, actually, yeah, well, I'll just go ahead and show you. You can kind of do like that. And I'm not really taking my time because I don't really advise doing this. And did you see, I'm not sure if you saw, but when I pulled the insulation off, a couple of strands came off. Let's see if I can pick that up with my finger without stabbing myself. Ow. See the strands? I don't know if you can see that. But when you use this method, if you're not real careful, you'll cut some of the strands, especially with finer strand wire. I don't really recommend doing that. I have done it in the past. I used to install machines and wire a lot of machinery and stuff like that up, and it's not the right thing to do, okay? I'll just go ahead and say that. It's not good because the strands are in there for a reason. It gives you your cable ampacity. Anyways, this is the tool. This is called a cable slicer or a cable knife. I'll link this particular one. This is Nipix. Nipix is really good stuff, but I'll link this in the description in case you're interested. You can adjust it. I'm not going to adjust it because I already have it adjusted to this cable to make it quicker and more efficient of me showing you this. But you can adjust this, and when you turn this, there's a little blade. Can you see the little blade right there? Very sharp. Don't touch it. You can adjust this out, in or out, depending on the size of your cable. And anyways, what you're going to do, spring-loaded deal right here, see? Open that up, put your wire in it about where you want it to be, where you want the insulation to be removed. So you see the knife's digging in, and like I said, you want to adjust it. You want to get a practice piece or something, where you don't want to damage your cable much. You want to get a practice piece, practice area. I've already adjusted it. Like I said, clamp it in there. I've obviously have this pre-adjusted. You're going to go around a couple times. And what that knife actually swivels. So what I'm doing, and you don't have to go around this many times, but I'm just explaining. What I'm doing is cutting into the insulation. What's really cool about this is you can hold it and pull it away from you, just like that. And look what it did. See that? And no strands were removed when I did that. If you have it properly adjusted, no strands will be removed anyway. So you can kind of see, I mean, this is way better than using wire strippers or a knife. You don't have to be as careful. It's a heck of a lot faster. And that looks pretty good, all right? Next thing I want to show you is how to crimp these big boys, okay? Because you can use regular hand crimpers up to about 10-gauge wire. And like I said, this is not really massive cable, so just take my word for it. You can do way larger cable using this. And I'll link this as well. This is a crimper that you put your terminal on. I may have stripped a little bit too much off. I did. But it's okay because this is just an example. I'm just showing you this. So this is stripped. Matter of fact, here I have something wrong with me. I'm gonna have to fix this right quick. Fix it. There we go. Okay, so I cut it off. Got that going on there. Perfect, right? This is a crimper for larger terminals like this that you can't get with a hand crimper. See that? It's spring loaded. You go ahead and press your terminal on there. Make sure you have the right size terminal for whatever stud you're trying to put on. This is just a spare battery terminal that I had laying around, or battery connector, whatever you want to call it. And this doesn't fit. The reason that I chose this terminal is so I could stress to you, whatever stud you're trying to put this on, you need to make sure you order the right size stud hole and the right size for your wire. This is 4/6 gauge wire. I want to stress that because you can drill this out, yeah, and it will fit if you do that, but you're reducing the surface area. And long story short, don't drill this stuff out. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but just don't drill that out. Just buy the correct size to begin with, because if you drill this out, you're going to get a lot of heat, especially if you're doing a lot of high current draw, and you're going to damage this connector. You may heat up the wire and damage it too. It's not a good idea. Get the right connector for whatever it is you're trying to do. Just wanted to stress, it's not going to fit, so you can drill it. Just don't do that. Buy the right size. Anyways, so got our wire strip using this, like I showed you. You can't crimp this with a hand crimper. I mean, you could, but it's not going to be proper, right? So you get this, lift it up, put it about where you want it, and this is where I'm not going to tear my table up. I'm going to move the camera. I want to stress this to you as well. When you're gonna need to set this on a solid base, because what you're gonna do is hit it with a hammer. When you hit it with a hammer, it's gonna crimp. You want to have this on a solid base. You don't want to have it on wood or something like that. I'm gonna turn the camera on and put it on my vise, but I have used like a block of wood on concrete or something like that. You just want something solid. This table is solid, but I don't know if you guys ever hit anything on a wooden table with a lot of stuff sitting on it. It's just not good to do. You don't want to dent your workbench up. But you can use a block of wood on concrete or something like that. Just make sure it's solidly pressed down on there. Anyways, I'm going to get you guys looking at my vise, and we'll hammer this thing down, and I'll show you another little tip when I crimp terminals. I've got you guys looking at my vise now. The reason I put it on my vise is because it's got this little anvil right here. It's a nice solid surface to hit something on. So I've got my crimper right here, got my connector, you know, it's just been pressed on or whatever. I just want to show you guys that I haven't done anything beforehand or whatever. One thing I want to mention to you, you see how this terminal is flat right here? You want to put it in there upside down, because that right there supports that sticking out, and this right here is going to crimp the terminal into the wire and hold it in place. So go ahead and stick your terminal in there where you want it. Don't go all the way to the edge, but get pretty close. And by the edge, I'm talking about the edge of the terminal. Get pretty close. Get it in there. I always kind of hold this thing, you know, just to make sure it's secure when you hit it, the thing that go flying off somewhere. So hold it like that. And then you just hit it. Hit it one more time. Okay. Look, good looking crimp. Thing's not coming. Ooh, I got grease on my hand. That's a good looking crimp. Thing's not going anywhere. I'm going to show you the next step, what I always do to kind of tidy this up, because it doesn't look too good. And it's not pretty. It doesn't really need to be pretty, but I'll show you what I do just to keep this kind of insulated. Heat shrink. I generally always use heat shrink, especially on terminals like this. And I forgot to mention, this crimper right here is good for up to 4/0 wire. You know the size of 4/0, it's pretty big. So keep that in mind when you order this. I'm pretty sure they got a lot of different sizes, but this one ranges from like 8 gauge to 4/0, something like that. So you can do a lot of cables with this thing. Anyways, heat shrink. I always, when I'm soldering or doing any kind of wire work, I always carry a Zippo with me. And I'm going to link all this stuff so you don't have to look for it in my description. Just, you know, check it out. I'll even link the heat shrink so you don't have to, because this is kind of a special heat shrink. It's got like a adhesive on the inside of it. I like using this because it kind of waterproofs connections and things. But this Zippo is not a regular Zippo. It's got a butane insert in it. So I'm not sure if you can see the blue flames, but it works great for stuff like this. Heck of a lot faster than a regular flame. And it's, you know, the butanes, you can kind of aim them at something and the flame's not going all over the place. Anyways. So we got a terminal, got the right size heat shrink we need. Normally, you want to put your heat shrink on first, because this wire is normally a heck of a lot longer than that, I would imagine. But you just get the heat shrink length you want to use. This is a bit longer than I normally only make it about this length, but this is the piece I had sitting in there, and if I cut it that short, can't use it for anything else. So put it on there, get our Zippo. and shrink it on. And this stuff, you want to make sure that you get it hot enough for the adhesive to melt. See that adhesive right there, the shiny right there? The adhesive melts and the heat shrink squeezes it out. And when it dries, it's going to be a more watertight connection. And it also looks a lot better. See what I mean by making it pretty? That's pretty much all I can show you guys today. I showed you how to strip the big wire and I showed you how to crimp the big wire. You guys have any questions or anything, comment, let me know. I normally respond to comments pretty quick. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you guys in the next one.